Hey newbies, welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. It's my job to take the guesswork out of beekeeping for you. Today, we're going to be covering minimal veils. So in other words, just a veil. We're not going to be talking about full suits quite yet. We're just going to be talking about the different styles of a minimal veil that you can put on over your head and be protected during hive inspections. So let's go. So the first piece of protective gear we're going to cover is a very minimal piece. It's called the folding veil, and it's called that because it folds up. This is it, all folded up. It takes up very little space. I like it because it's easy to take with you on the go. Just grab it, go. You can pull it on really quickly when you need to. But essentially, when it unfolds, you'll notice that it has 4 sides. And it's made of a wire screen mesh, very sturdy stuff. It won't crimp or fold very easily. And especially when it's in the folded position, it lays nice and flat. So it's not going to get any crimps in that wire mesh. And that's important because you want this thing to remain stiff so that when you're wearing it, it's out and away from your face so that no bees can get close enough to sting you. Some veils will fall back against your face and a bee could have a chance to pop you in the nose, but not with this one. So of the 4 sides, this is the largest side. It's the big square, and this is the face. But with this, you've got to incorporate a hat. And it's got to be one with a full round brim. Nothing like a ball cap is going to work. It'll slip off and bees will find their way in. But essentially, you put this on by bringing the hat up through the bottom, and you pull the top of that hat through the top of the mesh in the top. And there's a pull string that cinches around the top of the hat. And just to put it on, you just slip it over. Most of this style veil has a drawstring that's attached right here in the front, and you pull it around you, switch hands with it, come around the front and tie it off. So it's nice and tight. It keeps this netting down and around your neck for protection, and tight around your neck so that bees can't crawl up in it. Now this one doesn't have one, not really sure why, but it was given to me. I didn't buy it new, but what it does have is a zipper. And it's possible that this zipper will match the zipper of a jacket bee suit. I don't have it, but it's nice and versatile in that way that you can up your protection by adding a jacket to something like this. You can find this style veil on Amazon. Man Lake sells it on Amazon. I think it's around 35 or 40 bucks. Totally worth it. But again, what you're going to have to keep in mind is your comfort level. And as beginners, you tend to be a little bit more nervous around bees. And as you gain experience and you learn the temperament of the bees, you become a lot more comfortable. You don't feel like, or at least you know when you need protection and when you don't. And like I've said before, and I'll say again, I pretty much never wear protective gear. I do know when I need to put some on, but I'll always eventually end up getting stung again anyways. And during one of these videos, sometime in the future, you'll see me get stung. Hopefully it's not in the face. And I'm going to show you how to remove a stinger properly so that you don't make it worse. If you squeeze the thing, you can pump the rest of the venom that's in that stinger into your hand or wherever you get stung, but it's better to scrape it out, and I'll show you that when the time comes. But it's nice and simple. You need to provide your own hat. Some of them will come with like a hard hat. Those aren't really comfortable, but whatever, this is an option. And again, the hat pulls right back out, folds up, and you're ready to go for next time. It doesn't take up hardly any space. So the pros, it's compact, it's versatile, it's made well. The cons, it's less protection for those of us who are a little more nervous around bees, especially at first. Okay, so here's the next style veil. And as I said, the hat's already incorporated into this one. This screen mesh is sewed right onto the outer edge of this hat. So it doesn't actually remove at all. It's always integrated onto this thing. Now, unlike the first one I showed you, the folding veil that has wire screen mesh, this is just regular screen mesh, like the screen that you would find in a window in a home. And it will protect you against bees, but unfortunately, if you don't store these right, which I didn't with this one, you'll get crimps and wrinkles in the screen. The problem with that is if the crimp comes in towards your face and touches your nose, you might get stung. A bee could be crawling on the outside here and be able to reach you with its little pointy end. But had I stored this properly, there wouldn't be any crimps in it. And the way I stored it was flat like this. So the screen just crumpled up. What I should have done was hang it like this so that the screen is always stretched out. Okay, so this particular one, this is not a square style, it's a round veil style, which is my favorite because it keeps the veil always away from your face, you're protected, and it doesn't impair your vision at all, even your peripheral vision. So you can always see all the way around you really well, and when you turn your head, it turns with you. There's a style veil we'll cover later, it does not, and I hate the thing, but a lot of beekeepers like it. I'm just not one of them. So to put this on, you just pull over your neck, or your head, fit the hat on your noggin, and then this is a much smaller netting. The way this one is designed to be used, I didn't actually put on correctly because they're not all the same. I'll show you what I mean in a second here. But that's it. It just sits on your head. I can turn. It's easy, very minimal coverage. The way you're supposed to put this particular one on is, see these elastic bands? You're supposed to put your arm through each one, pull it up to your shoulders, and then pull this over your head. And it's still, it does help keep it tight so that the bees are not as likely to crawl up inside. The only issue with this is that the elastic needed reinforcing, so when I bought it, they eventually came loose and I had to re-sew them myself. So the quality wasn't there, but the design is great. But that's another minimal option here. It's pretty much got the same pros and cons as the folding veil. So the next video what we're going to cover is a fencing style veil, the one I'm not a fan of, but it does cover you a little bit more, and we're going to go over that just here in a second. Now we're going to talk about another minimal style pullover veil. It's a little more involved than the folding veil that you saw and the hat veil. And that's because it's got a lot more mesh material on the front to help cover the torso and the shoulders. Basically what this pullover veil is a fencing style veil, and as you can see it retracts, so it does fold up nicely. When you're not using it, it can sit flat, but when you're wearing it, it comes out away from your face. It's got screen mesh. It's not the hard wire stuff like on the folding veil. This can crimp, but it's not so much a big deal on this style veil. The face will pretty much always stay flat. So we've got our fencing style veil, and it's zipped onto sort of a mesh vest. And this mesh vest has 3 holes in it, 2 for the arms, and each one has elastic around that to help cinch it down over your arm, and an elastic around the waist, which ends up sitting somewhere around mid-torso for me. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this on and talk about it a little bit further. Your arms go through first. Pull it up over your elbows and then slip it up over your head. Then pull this this elastic waist down. For me, this is great because it keeps you cool in the summertime. It gives you a little bit more protection than the other veils. One thing I don't like about it is there is a little bit of exposure in the armpit area that bees could crawl up into and find their way into the veil. Maybe I just need bigger arms, I don't know. But when I'm working a lot, this tends to ride up. If you're a woman, this probably would go down over your chest and stay there just fine, so that's kind of an advantage that you would have. But this is a great option for those of you who want a little more protection than those first two minimal veils that we covered, but you also don't want to go with the full suit. This feels good. It feels nice and not tight, but like fitting. It feels fitting. And the fencing style veil, it just sits right on top of your head. You notice there's no hat with it. It's literally just kind of shaped to sit on top of your head. Now, a few things about a fencing style veil. It's made to where this angle is facing down. And the reason for that is when you're doing a hive inspection, you're taking frames of bees out. Whether it's got honey on it or brood, it doesn't matter, but this is where you hold it. And so this angle enables you to see this very clearly so that you can see what you're doing. And that's wonderful. One of the things I don't like about the folding veil is that it kind of blocks your peripheral vision. So if you're working with a buddy and you're like, what did you say? And you kind of got to pull this up to see. See, right now, this is touching my lip, it's touching my nose, and a bee could come and pow and get me right there. And I've had to do this a lot. So when it comes to veil style, I still prefer that round veil that stays away from my face. I don't mind wearing a hat, plus it helps to block the sun. This style veil does not block the sun. As you can see, it's coming in right now in my face, which is no big deal sometimes, but in the summertime, if I'm working a lot of hives and I have to be outside for a while doing that, I could get kind of warm. So a hat would be an advantage over this. But overall, it's not bad. It was only $40, so it's very affordable, and it'll last you for quite a while. And it's also another good option if you've got maybe someone in your family that wants to see the bees, but you don't want to invest into a $200 suit. One of these would be great. They can pull it on and then kind of stand at a distance if they're uncomfortable. They don't have to be right up here at the hive, which I have down here on my right. So check this out. I believe I got this on Amazon as well. One of the other neat things I do like about this is, let's say you're not quite working anymore, but you're not ready to take this completely off. You can just pull it over your head and keep it on your shoulders. So your hands are free, you're still carrying it around with you, and if a bee, you hear it coming starting to buzz around your head, you can grab this and pull it over real quick and protect yourself. So that's pretty much it on the pullover veil. The next video we're going to cover is going to be the full suit. And in that we're going to talk about footwear a little bit. And after that, we're going to cover beekeeping gloves. As always, thank you for watching. To my apprentices, don't forget to drop me one of these. Check the description and the links below for the tools and equipment and gear that I use. And don't forget to subscribe.